Welcome to another episode here on Your Digital Makeover. My name is Jerry Colbert, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about ProPresenter. And it's all coming up next. So in today's episode here on Your Digital Makeover, we're going to be going over ProPresenter. And it's just going to be a basic overview. I'm not going to delve too much into ProPresenter. I'm going to actually just go over just a screen, kind of showing you different areas of the screen. And if you're not familiar with ProPresenter, ProPresenter basically is a presentation software where you can, share whatever on this computer to screens in your auditorium or wherever it might be. So it might be like in a church setting. Maybe you have a church congregation, you have screens up on the wall, and you want to present slides up on the wall. Maybe that's worship music or a sermon or such. It can be used in other areas as well. But that is basically what ProPresenter is. And so let's get into just a brief overview of this, and in later episodes, we'll go over each section in a little bit more detail. Okay? So here we are. We have ProPresenter opened up, and if you look here, it looks kind of confusing, don't it? But it's really not. It's just broken down into sections. So let's go over here into this section here, the library section, and we'll kind of go over what each of these areas mean. Okay, so the library is where you're going to hold all of your sermon or your worship music, or all your items for your slides are going to be held in the library section. And you can have several libraries. Maybe you want to break it up based upon different areas of your presentation, right? So that's what libraries basically are. They're just holding areas. So you can hold different stuff in there. Like I have scripture section. I have a hymn library where I have all my hymns, just to kind of be a little bit more organized, right? And then down below here in this box here, you have the playlist. Now the playlist is kind of interesting. You see, you can operate your presentation and your whole thing off of just your one library. You don't have to have playlists, but the cool thing about playlists is that you can add a certain playlist and pick from each one of these libraries and have it included in just one of the playlists. And then when you're done with that playlist, you delete it and move on to another playlist, right? And this is very helpful. Like, for instance, if you have a church service and you are presenting for one Sunday, and then you want to have something else different on your next Sunday, right? So that's what playlists are. They're just things that can showcase what's coming out of a library. Okay. Now, down below it here is everything that's inside of each one of these things that you click on. If you notice, when I click on library, it shows these are included in this library. When I click here on the scripture, this is what's included in the scripture area. When I click on hymns, this is what's included in the hymns library. Conversely, if you click on playlists, it's going to show you what's included in the playlist. So that's what this section is all about, is what's included in these library and playlist sections. Okay. Down below here, you have your media bin. This is where you hold all your media graphics, whether that be still graphics or moving graphics. This is where that's held at. Also down here, you have your video input, where your main cameras are set for your video input, and we'll go into that in a little bit later episodes. Okay. Now, in this section here, in this middle section, this is where all your slides to whatever event or whatever playlist that you're trying to show for that day. Okay. So you can break it up into segments like I have here, and if you see here, this is what all this is here, is all showing here. So when I click on announcements, it's going to show these announcements here, right? And we'll go over that in a little bit later detail, but this is where all the main stuff that you're going to be showing for the day is presented right here, okay? Now, over here in this section here is where you can see what's actually happening on your screens, okay? And in this example, I have an operator view where I'm going to showcase my main output and my live output. Okay, so like for instance, if I click on this slide here, this is what it's going to show on the main output. And when I say main output, that means whatever is on your screen that you're showing in your auditorium. And then you might have a live output. Maybe you're showcasing this online. So you have a live output and you want to see that. Now you say, well, Jerry, they're kind of the same, right? Well, yeah, in this instance they are. But sometimes in other instances, they're not the same. Maybe in your main output, you have music playing up here in the center right here, and for your congregation to sing to, but then on your live output, you have a picture of the whole auditorium with a, down there at the bottom with the words showcasing at the bottom, so it doesn't distract from the viewers, I guess, from what the viewer is seeing on online, right? You don't want the words right in the middle, right over your pastor's head, or right over the worship leader, worship leader, whoever that is that's singing up there. You don't want it right over their head. You want it down below. So maybe you might have something in a different area. So that's why you'd want to create a screen like this, okay? And we'll go over that in a little bit more detail later. Now down below here is where your audio bin's at, and macros and a few other things. And this is where all this lives. And this is in direct relation to your screens over here. And you can add different stuff to your screens using your audio bin, macros, and such. Okay, and this is where that all lives. Now up here at the top, you have a store here where you can go to Renew Vision's store and download any media files that you might want to utilize in your worship service. Also here you have the show or hide media bin. That just, maybe you don't want your media bin showing. Maybe you want a little bit more real estate. Maybe you don't have a big computer screen, right? And you just need a little bit more real estate to see what you're doing. You just don't really need the media bin up, so you can always toggle that on and off. And then of course over here you have your search, text, themes, show, edit, reflow, Bible, and more. And we'll go over that in a little bit later episodes, what all that does. And then, of course, you have your regular menu bar up here, and we'll go over that later. And then, of course, one of the main things that you'll be doing when you're setting up ProPresenter is you'll be utilizing this area here, which is the preference area, okay? And this is all the stuff that you're going to do to set up your ProPresenter so it goes to the right screens, the right audio files are going to the right area. You have a syncing, you have a network, you have a lot of stuff on here. Some of this stuff I don't even use, to be honest with you, but some of it you will utilize in your worship service or any kind of presentation that you're doing. So anyways, I hope that was informative. Also, by the way, before I forget, down here in this bottom section here, this is separate from this section. This basically is just showcasing what's in this area. So you have announcements, right? If I click on announcements here, it'll all show up over here in this section. And then, of course, anything like video input shows up in this section. So that's what this section is all about, okay? So I hope that this episode was informative to you. And if it was, please click that like button right down below. And if you haven't seen any of my videos in the past, or maybe you want to see some in the future, right? Make sure you click on that subscribe button down below and the notification bell. And with that being said, I want to wish you all a wonderful week, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Take care.